Hey yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel, keeping you up to date on all the latest wrestling news, wrestling rumors, reports, and so on. Today we're covering everything that went down on this week's SmackDown, the massive return of Edge, and of course what that all could be leading to. Released wrestler fires back at WWE. It looks like WWE is planning for this year's draft to be more impactful. A top heel possibly set to turn babyface, and much more. So you guys know what to do. Make sure to have those notifications turned on. And if you are new here, consider subscribing to not miss any of our wrestling news coverage for WWE 2K22 news and just more wrestling. And let's start off with some SmackDown, because on this week's episode, Edge made his return. We had Roman Reigns closing out the show, celebrating his victory against Rey Mysterio last week and indicating that there is no one left for him to face. As soon as that was said, Edge music played and he walked out and then attacked Roman Reigns around ringside area. Roman Reigns was able to get his hands on a chair, but Edge ultimately speared him. Edge went on to attack Jimmy Uso, who tried to make the save for Roman Reigns, but he ended up getting speared through the barricades as Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman escaped up the rampway. So at this point, it's kinda clear that Edge is back in the Universal title picture. The easy speculation is of course that they're probably gonna be facing each other at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view in the main event in singles competition. But that might turn out to be a little bit different, because something that not a lot of people are talking about is that Seth Rollins also wants an opportunity at the Universal title. He made that very clear on a segment on SmackDown before Edge even returned. So that brings up the question that maybe WWE is planning to do another three-way matchup with Roman Reigns facing off against Seth Rollins and Edge. This will ultimately lead into the rumor matchup for SummerSlam that was just revealed a couple of days ago, and that being Seth Rollins versus Edge. This is said to be a match that WWE wants to give us at the SummerSlam pay-per-view, one of the big three matches. So all of these guys having a three-way matchup at the Money in the Bank will certainly make sense. WWE could also do the route of having Seth Rollins inserted into the Money in the Bank matchup and then maybe screwing up the main event. It looks like they have a good amount of possibilities on this one. Now that Edge return ended up happening on the main event of SmackDown, and we will talk about everything else that happened on the show. For the meantime, we got some extra news to discuss. First off, it looks like Riddle got his Matt back, his first name back, because based on Michael Cole on SmackDown this week, he is now back to being Matt Riddle. When hyping up the Money in the Bank match and those that already qualify, Michael Cole referred to Matt Riddle as Matt Riddle multiple times. If you guys remember, over the last couple of months, he only been called Riddle, a lot of which have to do because of the allegations against him right now, all of which still goes on, but WWE didn't want people to Google his full name and all of that to show up. The name change didn't really make a difference. It looks like WWE realized that, so they just started calling him Matt Riddle once again. As we discussed yesterday, a lot of superstars were released from WWE, especially a lot of superstars from the Cruiserweight division and from NXT. Adding to that list is Killian Dane. We didn't get to discuss his name yesterday because he was one of the last names to get revealed after we posted the coverage. This is WWE breaking up another team, and one that was very entertaining on NXT. Killian Dane sent out a statement indicating that he's obviously frustrated, but he understands that it's not personal, and he went on to thank everyone from William Regal, Shawn Michaels, Fit Finlay, Triple H, and his wife Nikki Cross. He also indicated that obviously he's not done, he's only 36 years old, and that he will be seeing us in 90 days. Of course, once that 90-day non-compete clause ends. He's obviously not the only one frustrated about all of this. Tony Nese also ended up tweeting out and kind of firing back at WWE for just not caring about 205 Live, indicating the following: "I love that my WrestleMania moment left an impression on some of you. I suggest watching the rematch versus Buddy Murphy from the 205 Live after. That was the match we really wanted to give you, but we were not allowed to do so at WrestleMania. Good thing is, no one in-house even watches 205 Live, so we just did it then." A bit sad to hear talent kind of indicate that WWE basically doesn't care about that division or the show itself. Probably makes sense why WWE been trying to put a heavy focus on the Cruiserweight division on NXT, because they know they gotta do something better with that show. They should have been bringing back the Cruiserweight Classic. It could have been an easy, massive tournament every single year to determine the #1 contender. Onto some other quick news, Madman's Andrew Sarian, who has been a very reliable source over the last couple of months, have indicated that this year's WWE Draft is set to be an important one because WWE want to put a big focus on it. Seems like they want to make it as impactful as possible. He indicated that WWE has big plans for which wrestlers are changing brands, and the idea for all of this is that this year's draft will be a much bigger field than previous years. Unfortunately, there's no specifics on who's gonna be traded. We did discuss the possibility of Big E going to Monday Night Raw and what WWE got plans for him there, but what I'm taking away from this is that it seems like they're gonna be making a lot more impactful trades than in the past. In the past, when we have gotten a shakeup or even a draft, a lot of time it has become kind of obvious who's gonna be switching brand, with maybe 1 or 2 mid-card level superstars kind of giving us a bit of a surprise that they have been traded. This year, hopefully they make it a bit more meaningful. Even the last one was kind of awkward because for the most part, the main event scene kind of ended up being the same. Drew McIntyre was drafted to Monday Night Raw when he was already on Monday Night Raw, and so on. There was really no impact of whatever was happening. So I hope WWE spice up the show itself and maybe go back to the older traditional format instead of how they've been doing it, which a lot of time feels like there's really nothing on the line. And for what went down on this week's SmackDown, a quick recap of the June 25th, 2021 show. The show started off with Bianca Belair cutting a promo. She gets interrupted by Seth Rollins. This was actually pretty entertaining. Seth Rollins trying to celebrate with Bianca as they each got a victory at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Bianca explained to Seth that he's not going to be teaming with her tonight. Seth goes back and forth and he indicates that he understands that, but before Bayley comes out and beat her, they got to celebrate now. This leads to Bayley coming out and then Cesaro, so we are set for the mixed tag team matchup in which Bayley and Seth Rollins defeat Bianca Belair and Cesaro, with Bayley pinning Bianca. This was a good start to the show, good segment leading into the match. Following this, we had the coronation of Shinsuke Nakamura. And all I gotta say is that once the audience is back, Shinsuke is gonna be getting a massive pop now that he got back his banging theme song. Interestingly enough, we had WWE Network dropping an exclusive interview with Baron Corbin in the backstage. He was asked about him losing a bunch of money recently. He basically looks frustrated that he has lost everything, his crown, his money, and he's just not a wealthy man anymore. They kind of made him look like we should be feeling sad about it because he kind of looks depressed. So it's making me wondering if maybe we're gonna be getting a babyface Baron Corbin for once. A change here might not be bad. Corbin has been a heel for far too long, pretty much forever, and this might be the right time to do it. You know, the time where he is at the ultimate low, and maybe fans could get behind that. We had Carmella being inserted into the Money in the Bank ladder match because she won that ladder match twice before. Liv Morgan then says that she wants an opportunity and she defeated Carmella last week, so she goes on to do it this week once again to earn an opportunity as well, which of course she did defeat her. Now WWE, this was a nice segment. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm excited that Liv Morgan is in the match, but you're not gonna get away with me not saying the fact that we all know you did this type of segment so that you could have both of them qualify into the match, because we all know how weak the women's division is in the whole main roster. So you basically had no choice. You gotta put both of them in the match. Big E defeated Apollo Crews, qualifying for the Money in the Bank matchup. We had Jimmy Uso, who've been trying to get Roman Reigns' approval the whole night, defeating Dolph Ziggler, basically proving that he could do exactly what Jey Uso did. He could be main event Jimmy Uso. And then for the main event, which we already discussed, we had Roman Reigns celebrating his Universal Championship victory from last week, all of which lead to Edge coming out attacking Roman Reigns and then attacking Jimmy Uso. Edge was already stocked up at WrestleMania with Daniel Bryan, but it looks like he wants to run it back. We reported before that WWE wanted to have Edge by the time that the audience comes back, so here it is. It looks like he's already back as we head into the live crowd returning. Anyways guys, that is all the latest. That is everything that went down on SmackDown and all the recent wrestling news. If you guys enjoyed or found this informative, don't forget to elbow drop it and hit those notifications to continue being up to date. I'll catch you on the next one, so stay savage.